Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Evening Show right here on Smash FM here on Lockdown Friday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's continue our show, of course, with music in particular. And of course, we've got a very special guest on the show, of course. She has a fantastic resume in regards to what she's already achieved already. I can go through a list of everything she's achieved already, but of course, we're going to get her to tell us a little bit more about it right now because here's Enya Angel. She joins us right now. Thanks, Enya, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So a little bit about me. I'm a top line vocalist. I am in Melbourne, Australia. I write and record for lots of styles, but mainly EDM. As you very nicely put, I have had quite a lot of success, especially recently. Number one on Beatport Electro House charts with my song Lullaby with Uberjacked and Lockdown. And I've had a few other number ones. There's Free with Exodus, which was out on Armada. So I'm looking forward to getting out of lockdown and doing more awesome stuff and exciting stuff.
Now, of course, you're in the same boat like me and like everyone else around Melbourne. We're stuck in lockdown. Not much else we can do. What have you been doing in the first lockdown and the second lockdown? And have you had a chance to sort of sit down and reflect on the amazing achievements that you've had so far?
The first lockdown, so I actually moved house mid-lockdown last time. I was in a really small apartment with my boyfriend and we just decided that if we were going to be stuck inside for a long time, we needed like a garden. So I really didn't do much first lockdown other than pack, move, and then unpack. But it was kind of a really great break because for about 5 years now, I've just been going, constantly writing, constantly performing, looking for the next opportunity. So it was actually a really great time to just kind of relax and focus on what I kind of wanted to do and where like my environment that I wanted to be in, which was, I just wanted to feel relaxed and I guess like safe from the virus and all that stuff. So moving was really great. I've got this really nice new studio. So that was first lockdown. Second lockdown, I have tried to be much more productive, especially with songwriting. So I didn't really feel very creative in the first lockdown. It was a bit of a shock. I think a lot of people just like in the entertainment industry, especially, they're all just like, what are we going to do? So I'm not performing obviously at the moment. So I've been learning Logic Pro a little bit better, learning how to engineer my own vocals. And I've just been writing a lot for myself because I am planning on releasing my own EP, not just top lines. So that's really exciting. So I've been doing a lot of that and just trying to find what kind of sound I like for my own music. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned about obviously not performing in front of your amazing fans, especially in person. Have you done any virtual performances during this time?
I have. So because I now have a bigger house, I actually can fit my upright piano, which has been in storage for about 2 years. So about 3-4 weeks ago, I did an Instagram live of me playing piano and singing, just cover songs. And I'm planning on doing some more IG lives and possibly streaming on Twitch. But that's kind of in the works. But I'm also working on building up my YouTube channel at the moment. I absolutely love doing covers. EDM is such a particular style, which I absolutely love singing, and I love singing my own stuff, but I really enjoy singing other people's work as well, and kind of putting my own spin on it. And I really enjoy mixing it and sometimes creating my own backing tracks as well. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing more YouTube stuff, hopefully some live streaming on Twitch. And I've got some IG lives with some really cool covers there if you want to check that out. And I always do random stuff on my Instagram stories. So if you want to follow me there, it's Enya.Angel.
Now, prior to COVID, as we all know, here in Melbourne, obviously Melbourne we all know is a very vibrant city. Did you do any performances prior to COVID for the first 2 months of the year?
Yes, I did actually. I'm actually the resident vocalist in a cabaret theatre show. It's called Queens of the Damned Cabaret, and it's like a kind of installation show. And we were at the Old Melbourne Jail, and we actually had a full production show at the Old Melbourne Jail, and that had been going since October last year. We did 2 or 3 shows each month, and we sold out every single show. And that was actually scheduled. We had shows scheduled at the end of the year for that were already sold out that we had to cancel. But yeah, so I perform in that. I'm the lead vocalist, and yeah, that's one of my favorite things to perform in. It feels like a family, but it's also just, it's very like, it's not me, it's not my EDM, so it's like out of my comfort zone, but it's been really great as a performer to do that. I've done a lot of shows outside of Melbourne as well. One of my favorite places to perform was HQ Complex in Adelaide, which is unfortunately closed down now. But that was a really great like performance moment for me. I think there was a moment where I sang Free by Exus, with Exus DJing at the time, and the audience actually sang my song back to me with the lyrics, which was such a cool moment. I am really excited to get back out and do more performing, especially in Melbourne, because I feel like most of my EDM shows have been outside of Melbourne. You know, I've performed at Crown, I've performed at, can't even remember other places, but like much more outside of Melbourne than in Melbourne. So I am excited to hopefully get my foot in the door in Melbourne performing, especially now I'm signed with Lucky Ant, which is really exciting. So yeah, hopefully this lockdown doesn't go too long, just as long as necessary.
Yeah. And you mentioned about the performance that you did at the Old Melbourne Jail.
Yeah.
Obviously, when most people think about music performances, they wouldn't think about a location like the Old Melbourne Jail to do it. I guess, how weird was that for you to perform, especially a cabaret at an Old Melbourne Jail?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's definitely terrifying. I 100% believe that place is haunted, and our dressing room is actually one of the old cells that doesn't have any windows. There's spots of blood on the wall. It's terrifying. And logistically, it is very, very difficult to do a show in a place like that. As you'd be aware, that there isn't really many power sockets, especially enough to power a whole show. So it took a lot of planning from the production team and a lot of back and forth between what the performers would be comfortable with. But we ended up building an entire stage in the, so if you go into it's like the watch house,
Yes.
there is it's an isolation outdoor area that's technically covered, but there's like the yard, and then there's an isolation area.
Correct.
What we've done inside the watch house is put a stage up against the isolation cage. And so as a performer, I get to go behind the cage and in front of the cage performing. And it is really, really terrifying, especially if I'm backstage waiting to go on and there's no lights. I'm the only person there, because I actually start the show. And yeah, and you can feel there's like chills and thrills in the audience. Like everyone's a little bit scared, but it's really awesome. And it is, as I said, it's a full production show. So there's lights, there's photographers, like music, but it's really, really awesome. So if anyone loves scary things, but also like comedy, burlesque, singing, like everything, I suggest going to see Queens of the Damned when we open up again, because it's amazing.
Now, just following up on my question two questions ago, and I mentioned about have you had a chance to reflect on things that you've already achieved? On the similar lines, have you had a chance to sort of sit down and figure out what you want to do now beyond COVID?
Yeah, so the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had a lot more time really to definitely reflect. And it takes a lot of planning, as I'm sure you can imagine, to be in the entertainment industry, because you don't have anyone giving you that, you show up to a job, you get money, like you stay certain hours. So it takes a lot of planning. And I've found that it's been hard to plan, not knowing like where or when everything's going to open up again. And especially if Victoria is isolated from the rest of Australia, it's hard for performers because it means we can't travel to perform. So I have definitely reflected on my success, and I think it's thinking about what I actually have achieved, because it's never good enough for me, but thinking about what I have achieved it's put me into a place where I feel confident that I can achieve more, and I will still achieve when this is all over. Because like talking about mental health, it's been pretty hard. I'm not sure, like obviously for everyone it's been really hard, but me personally, it's been hard to feel like I'm not wasting time, because unless you're in front of an audience, or unless you're really interacting with the people who you follow you and who appreciate your music or buy your music, it's been really, really difficult to feel motivated and not just be like, well, my career's over kind of thing. But yeah, so the last 2-3 weeks, I've definitely gotten out of that kind of slump that I was in about a month ago. And I feel like, this is what I want to do, and this is the steps I'm going to take to get there. And I've got the time, so I may as well use it to be productive and to go after my goals even more so now that I'm stuck in my studio. Like, I'm lucky I have a studio to work in. So yeah, lots of self-reflection going on and trying to get out of being like, being sad that the industry doesn't really exist right now. So yeah.
Now, I interviewed one of the other Lucky Entertainment artists in Jezebel a moment ago, and she mentioned about in the short term, and obviously she's got some singles out and all that sort of things. And you mentioned that before yourself. When is our listeners expecting to hear your next single coming out?
I do have a bunch of music in the works with some producers. I have one with DJ Tamara, who is a Melbourne girl. She plays the violin, and it's super exciting. I haven't really worked with a lot of female producers and DJs, so I'm really excited to get something out with her. And I do have some ones with 2 US producers, but I can't actually talk about them yet because they're under contract and they haven't released the news yet. But that'll be really exciting, and that should be in the next few months. And then I have a few others in the works, but it'll definitely be in the next few months, I would say. Yeah. But I'm kind of just riding on the success currently of Lullaby with Uberjacked and Lockdown, because that was so good. We had a music video for that, and the fact it went #1. And yeah, one of my favorite songs I have released this year. It was during the first lockdown. It's called Who You Are. And it came out on Enhanced Progressive, and Enhanced has been a label that it was up there with Armada for me, basically. I wanted to be signed to Armada, Mousetrap, and Enhanced. So I did Armada first, and then I did Mousetrap with Eddie. That's our song Bad Habits, if you want to give it a listen. Love that song. And then this year, I got signed to Enhanced Progressive, and that is with Lorena Meyer and Quizzow. And it's a really fantastic song. It kind of, I feel like the vocal was inspired by London Grammar. I like getting inspired by different vocalists, because I do have the tendency to change my voice to fit the track rather than just like sing how I would always sing, which I don't know if that's a great thing, but yeah. So if you want to check out Who You Are, that's one of the other songs I released. I think that was about a month ago, and yeah, that charted really well. It got heaps and heaps of support from all different DJs that I look up to. So that was really cool.
Now, you might as well tell us, concerning all these, the 2 that you mentioned before, of course, Who You Are and Lullaby. Tell us what, for anyone out there, when they listen to the song, what's the background to both those songs?
Okay, so Lullaby, I'll start with that. Basically, I performed with Uberjacked about 2 years ago. I've performed with him quite a lot in Adelaide, mostly at HQ Complex. And HQ flew me over, and we had a bunch of songs that we were going to do, like all covers. And then he'd sent me this song, and he was like, I really want to do this, but I don't have a vocal. Can you write something? And so I was like in my old house, and I was in a little tiny studio. It was like my cupboard. And this is like 2 years ago I wrote this, and I just wrote out this weird kind of like, I thought of like a psycho clown or like a creepy carnival. It was like, because what it was is it was called Music Box. The ID that he'd sent me, he was like Music Box, and it had that creepy kind of lullaby music box sound in it. And I was like, I'm just thinking of like someone on display in some creepy carnival. So I wrote a few verses, and we didn't end up performing it at HQ. We performed a cover of Silence by Sarah McLachlan and Delirium, which we actually went on to release an official cover of in 2019, which was amazing. But he was like, I really like this song. I'm going to work on the production of it, and then maybe you can re-record the vocal. And then lockdown jumped in and kind of just brought the song to like the next level. It was almost hardstyle, but I don't know. I just love it. Like, I mean, it's technically Electro House, but it's so full on. And then, that just went from there, and we eventually got it, released. So that was awesome. And then, so Creepy Clown, I guess, if I had to like do it, that's what it was inspired by. But then Who You Are, that was a lot more personal, that song. I wrote that about a year ago. Lorena Meyer sent me a track, which was completely different to what it is now, because Quizzow and Lorena eventually worked on it together and changed the whole song. But we wrote this song, and we actually wrote it with the intention of sending it to Armada. But it wasn't the right style in the end, so we didn't. We sent it to Enhanced. But so we wrote this song, and it was just basically piano chords. It was MIDI piano chords when he sent it to me, and it was so emotional, and just it made me feel like looking back on some sort of relationship and trying to do your best, basically. So Who You Are is about trying to do the absolute best for someone, but it not being good enough for them purely because they don't believe they deserve the help, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when in the chorus, when it says, I know who you are, like there's a line that says like, I know your scars, I know who you are. It's basically saying like, you don't have to hide, you don't have to step away, you don't have to push me away, because I've seen all of you and I still choose you. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's basically what it is. It's definitely inspired by like my relationship with my boyfriend. You know, we've been together for 4 years, and I think half my songs are probably about him, whether I mean to or not. But yeah, I think it's just like, it's like, stop being, you know, an awful person to yourself. Like, because I accept you however you are. So yeah, I like that song. It's a good song.
Now, how did you get involved in music, and why did you choose it?
Oh, okay. This is such a long story. And every time I get asked this, I mean, all my answers go on forever because I can talk a lot. But so basically, I'm a third generation performer. My great grandparents were like musicians. My grandparents were, my grandfather on my dad's side was a jazz musician and a swing band conductor. And my grandma was a singer in the swing band. That's how they met. And then my dad was an actor and musician, and my mum was a model and dancer. So it's kind of just like, if I chose any other career, it would probably be really taboo for my family, because my sister's a photographer. Like it was drilled into me. So all through childhood, I did like dance lessons, music lessons, singing, acting, etc. I'm also a professional voiceover artist. So I specialize in character accents, and I've done stuff for like My Little Pony and like ABC Kids and all that stuff. So it's just always been like that. And I started writing really silly songs at about 10, and then it just kind of gradually like developed from there. I just wrote lots and lots. I look back on those songs and they're absolutely shocking, but you got to start somewhere. Then I started writing poetry, and I realized that I could probably like, I should put music to this. I should put my piano to it, etc. And then when I was about 19, I started taking it really seriously. And I was singing heaps for a bunch of other people's demos. And I realized, why don't I start submitting demos like that I've written? Like, I don't just have to be the vocal. And I started doing that. And then, I got discovered by my first manager, and he started just pushing me towards EDM. He was like, let's get you top lining for this artist and this artist. And then I got introduced to the Melbourne scene through a DJ who I'm not sure is around anymore, but his name is Amir, and I started writing top lines for him, and it kind of just went up from there. And then I got introduced to Dematic, who's from Adelaide, through Amir, and we did Fighter, with Uber Jacked and Dematic, and it was released on Hustle Recordings, so Ministry of Sound Australia.
Yes.
And we did a music video for that, and that just launched me. Like, I couldn't keep up with my collaboration requests. It was so amazing, and it was the busiest time in my life that I've ever had. I think I was writing like 13 songs a week, which for me is insane. And just demos after demo after demo, and there's so much rejection. But yeah, so I just kept pushing until I got to a point where I'd released enough music that I was proud of, where I could start pulling back and be really selective. So that's where I am now, which is awesome. And, you know, lucky and has picked me up, and my manager, Kaylee. So I'm really excited to work with them. I actually signed with them in March, just before the first lockdown hit. So I was a bit like, oh my God, I've had this massive opportunity, and now the universe is just being like, too bad, so sad. Yeah, like, because everything's on hold. So that was definitely hard to get over. But yeah, so now I'm just at this point where I feel like I want to write music because I want to write music, not because I'm getting paid to write for someone else. So that's where I'm at now. That was a long story of how I got into music. Yeah.
And it was a very good story too. And what will be a highlight throughout your amazing music journey so far? I could list completely everything that you've achieved, but it would take the whole hour.
You know, I actually, like, going back to the self-reflection thing, I actually forget a lot of my achievements because I'm a very hard on myself person. So unless someone reminds me of my achievements, I'm like, did I do that? But I did think about this question, and I thought there's two moments. One, I've already told you, when I sang Free at HQ Complex and the audience sang it back to me. Amazing moment. But I think the biggest moment for me was when I signed Free to Armada. That was my absolute goal. And when I got that contract, I just cried for like 3 hours before I could sign it. And I just like ran around telling everyone I could. I was like, I did it. I signed to Armada. My mom was like, I'm so proud of you. And like, obviously people sign tracks to Armada all the time, but it was such a huge goal for me. It felt amazing. And then to top it off, that song won Tune of the Week on A State of Trance, which is Armin van Buuren's radio show. He premiered the song at Dream State, Southern California. He has played it in his sets like all over the world, and I am still constantly receiving videos of Armin van Buuren playing that song and the whole crowd singing the words back. And so I mean, this is like 2.5 years ago now that song was released, but I think that is the moment that I knew that I could make an actual full-on career out of this, and that people actually would connect to my music and connect to my words. I think it's also the most profound song I've written because it's based on a Native American song that my mum used to sing me as a child. So it's not based on, but it's inspired by it. It's inspired on, because in Native American they have the Great Spirit, etc. And my great grandfather was from America, and part Native American. So like passing it down, even though I've got like, I probably have like, I don't know, a tiny little like percentage of Native American. It was really awesome to put that into a song. So that was a super special moment, and I will never ever forget like all of those moments for Free. Yeah, that's a good song. I keep saying all of my songs are good songs. I have written some absolutely terrible songs, but I will not name them. Yeah.
Now, what does the music scene mean to you now?
It's basically my whole world. I have a degree in psychological science. I was a full-time makeup artist for a while. I've tried lots of other career paths, and I never failed in them, but I always went back to songwriting. Always went back to performing. And it just keeps showing me, no matter how many times I try and get like a normal job or a stable job, I always end up going back to performing and music. Even if it's, something like musical theatre or singing EDM, writing for EDM, writing my own music, performing piano, like I think it's ingrained in me, and it's pretty much all that I ever want to do. So I guess, yeah, it pretty much means everything to me. So I'm trying to hold on to it. Yeah. 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 Cool.
Now, you mentioned before about what you want to do post-COVID. Is going to the US and performing something you want to do, considering what you've already achieved here in Australia?
Definitely. LA especially, like I'm not attracted to the actual city, but the songwriting and performing opportunities for music are absolutely insane there. So the goal would be to work towards signing to a publishing deal with a prominent publishing company, which I'm currently working on, and going to LA and just writing for people and artists, and then also writing for myself and releasing my own music. That is a massive goal. I think that's a massive goal for every songwriter and every performer, because LA is the place where songwriters and performers go to make it. And like I am a huge like fan of performing, etc. And writing for myself, but I love writing for other people. Like absolutely love hearing someone else sing my songs. There's no feeling like it. And I've done it a bit in Australia, but I want to go to definitely to the next level. And to do that, it's to go to LA. So that is definitely on the cards. Yeah.
And what will be your advice to our listeners out there that should get involved in music?
Don't let no stop you from doing what you're going to do. The music industry is full of no's. It's full of you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not young enough, you I don't know, you don't look like how I want you to look, etc. Or even things like that can't be done, or that's not the way that we do things. Like it'll just be negatives all the time. And you can't listen to that. You cannot listen to someone else's opinion telling you no. Especially like if you write a demo and you send it and that someone doesn't like it, guess what? Someone else is going to love it. It happens to me all the time. And at first it used to get me down, and I would be so upset that this producer didn't like my demo, didn't like my voice or my lyrics or something like that. And I would use that as an a cappella, and I'd send it to a few other producers and they'd pick it up. Like, for example, I did a song with Tom Buden, right? I wrote that song for a very famous producer in America, and he hated it. Like, he was so rude about it. And then Tom Buden took the a cappella and made it into a song called We Are Done. And it is huge. People love it. I have heard that song in restaurants that I'm sitting in. It's been used in like film festivals and commercials, all that stuff. And that was a song that I was never going to send anyone because of how much another producer just tore it down. So yeah, don't take no for an answer. Like, you do what you want to do. Teach yourself how to do it. Do things yourself. Learn how to be your own boss. Treat it like a business, and you'll succeed. Yeah.
Now, we'll finish off with a couple of lighthearted questions, which is any embarrassing moments on stage?
Oh, so there's one with Queens of the Damned. There's a song where I am in a straitjacket, and I get out of the straitjacket as I'm singing. It sounds insane, and it is, but it's also really cool. And I have a headset mic on, and the headset mic was tucked into my bra. But the way that we'd somehow put it on meant that I couldn't pull the little secret zip down to get the straitjacket off. So I was legitimately just struggling on stage for like 5 minutes. And had to make it part of my performance. Maybe that's not embarrassing for other people, but I was like, there was a look of sheer terror in my eyes. Yeah. Then let's see. Okay. Oh. Yes. Okay. So I was at HQ Complex one time, and it was New Year's Eve, and I was performing. I can't remember who I was performing with. But I decided to wear giant platform stiletto shoes, and I forgot that I'd be on a platform and then have to step down off that platform. And so right when they're counting down, like to New Year's, right, I decided that it'd be a great idea to jump off the platform in my giant stiletto, like platform heels, as I was like holding a champagne bottle as well and a microphone. So I didn't have any hands. And I jumped off and I just completely like fell over. I don't know how many people noticed, but I just like jumped off and just like went backwards. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't think many people noticed because they were all really drunk and it was New Year's. So I noticed. And the person who was videoing the event was like did that just happen? Yeah. I kind of like fell on the platform. So I kind of saved it. But yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. I do have more, but oh my God, I have so many from theater, but I won't even yeah. Like popping buttons, like stockings like ripping, and yeah. I don't know. Never dance on stage, okay? Things will happen. No. Anyway, yeah. But yes. Yeah, falling over on stage, it's pretty bad, but it's not too bad. Like I haven't ever like accidentally flashed anyone or anything, which is totally possible in a lot of costumes. So yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool. Anyway, yeah.
Now, have you ever forgotten a lyric to a song? Oh,
yes. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I really have. And I actually had a problem with this, especially when I was younger and I was doing a lot of performing, like talent shows and things like little appearances on TV, etc. Just like a young performer. And there was what it was recurring. If I got really, really terrified, because I used to have really bad stage fright, I'd get on stage and the lyrics would just literally disappear. And there was one, I think I was 14 and I was performing at a talent show and it was the finals and I was singing, what's it called? Just Around the River Bend by Pocahontas. So yes. Definitely not EDM, but yeah, one of my favorite songs to sing. And I got to the really serious part where she's like, should I marry Coco? Yeah. Like that part. And I just went blank and I was like, it's all like that. It was so obvious. So obvious. There's one more time that I'm going to say. I was in Zeusical the musical. I was playing a Wickersham Brother #1, which is supposed to be like a really cool dude, but I was playing it for some reason. And I didn't quite forget the lyric, but there was a giant moon that came down on set and I was supposed to walk through it. And instead of it being there when I had to walk through it, it was coming down when I already had to start the song and it hit me on the head and I had to keep singing. So yeah, so that's actually one of those embarrassing ones, but it wasn't my fault. And I missed the first full line of the song because literally I was like, this moon, I was like, where is this moon? I was like, I have to get out on stage. And then the stage hands just put it down on my head. And I just like had to like quickly like duck and roll, jump back up and then start like the second line of the song. I don't know how I did that. That was strange, but yeah. I don't know. Stage hands, man. No. I love production. I love the production teams. Yeah. Lots of respect for them when they don't hit me on the head with a moon. Yeah. God, if I think about all of the performing I've done, there are so many moments where you just have to like get through your sheer terror of what's happening and just keep going so the audience doesn't know that anything's happened. Yeah, I guess that's what being a performer is, just like pushing through terror. Yeah.
And we'll finish up with one last one, which is for everyone that should follow you on the music channels and, of course, on social media. How can I go about it?
Okay, so it's just Enya Angel. It's on Spotify. Instagram is enya.angel. You can follow me on SoundCloud. That's enya.angel as well. I'm on YouTube now too. I believe that's enya.angel. Mm-hmm. I also just got a TikTok, which is enya.angel as well. I feel too old for TikTok though. Everyone's like 15 and really cool. And then I just do like silly comedy things. Like I don't even sing. It's weird. What else have I got? Facebook, it's Enya.angel. I think it's all Enya.angel now. I've tried to do that quite well. But yeah. And then I will be starting a Twitch very soon. But Instagram is my main thing that I use to communicate with followers and fans and stuff like that. So at Enya.Angel. And yeah,
Well,
that's
Enya, well, Enya, thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome having you on the show.
Thank
We're
you for having
definitely
me.
no worries. We definitely hope we can get to catch up again soon, and hopefully in person this time, because
Yeah.
we're both in the same city, and hopefully we get to see some performances coming up sometime down the track once we get out of lockdown.
Yeah. So great to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
No worries, and that's Enya Angel there. Join us there, and of course, you can check out all her music and everything, as she mentioned, on the socials as well as YouTube and all the other music channels that she listed before. There's more on the Smash Evening Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Friday Lockdown Edition.